Okay. American Apprenticeship Awards Initiative. Title 6. Award and Administrative Information. Award Notice. All award notifications will be posted at the ETA homepage at the Department of Labor Employment Training Agency.gov. Application selected award will be contacted directly before the grant execution. No selected applicants will be notified by mail, email, may request a written debriefing of the significant weakness of their may request a written debriefing of a significant weakness of their application. Um, Select the organization. A grant does not constitute approval for the grant application submitted. Before actual grant is awarded, we may enter negotiations with such items as the program components, staffing, funding levels, and administrative systems in place of the support of the grant implementations. If negotiations do not result in mutually acceptable submission, the grant officer reserves the right to terminate negotiations, decline to funding the application. We reserve the right to not fund any application related to the Federal Opportunity Act. B. Funds Opportunity Act, or Funds Opportunity Authority. Administrative national policy requirements, administrative program requirements. All grantees will subject to applicable to federal laws, regulations, including Office of Management and Budget Uniform. In terms of conditions of the award, the grant is awarded under the Funding Opportunity Authority. It will be subject to the following administrative standards and provisions: nonprofit organizations, educational institutions, state, local, Indian, tribal governments. 2 Code Federal Regulations, Part 200, Uniform Administrative Requirements, Cost, Principles, Audits, and Requirements for Federal Awards. B. The profit-making commercial firms, Federal Acquisition Regulations, Title 48 CFR Part 31 Code, Cost, Principles, and 2 CFR Part 200 Administrative Requirements. All entities must comply with the Title 29 Code Federal Regulations Part 93. No new restrictions on lobbying. The 29 CFR Part 94 Government with requirements of drug-free workplace financial assistance. 29 Code Regulations Part 98 Government with debarment suspensions and drug-free workplace requirements where applicable to Title CFR Part 200 audit requirements. D. The CFR 29 CFR Part 2 Subpart D Equal Treatment of the Department of Labor Program Religious Organization Protection of Religious Liberty Department of Local Social Service Providers and Beneficiaries. Title 29 CFR Part 31 Non-Discriminational Federal Assistance Program of the Department of Labor effectuation of the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Title 29 Code Federal Regulations Part 32, non-discrimination based on handicap programs, activities receiving federal financial assistance, Title 29 CFR, non-discrimination based of age in programs, activities receiving federal financial assistance and from the Department of Labor. H 29 Code Regulations Part 36, non-discrimination basis of sex education programs for activities receiving federal financial assistance. I, Title 29 CFR Part 29 and 30, labor standards of registration of apprenticeship programs and equal opportunity for apprenticeship and training as applicable. K, special terms of conditions awarded, see Appendix C. 2, other legal requirements, religious activities. Department notes that the Religious Freedom and Registration Act of Title 42 U.S. Standard Code Section 2000 BB applies to the federal law implementation if the application organization, faith-based organization that makes a hiring decision on the basis of religious belief, it may be entitled to receive a federal financial assistance under the grant opportunity maintaining the hiring practice. If the faith-based organization is awarded the grant, the organization will provide information on how to request such an exemption. B, the lobbying and funding of the U.S. government of the federal funds in accordance with Section 18 of the Lobby Disclosure Act of 1995, Public Law 104, 5, 2, Title 2 U.S. Standard Code 1611, nonprofit entities incorporated in Internal Revenue Service Code Section 501c4. This engaged lobbying activities not eligible to receive funds and grants, not activity, no activity including awareness raising advocacy activities may include justifying fundraising and lobbying for the U.S. federal, state, local governments. See Office of Management Budget Circular A122. Transparency Act requirements. You must ensure that the necessary process system is in place to comply with the reporting requirements of Federal Funding Accountability Transparency Act of 2006. Public Law is 109-282 as amended in Section 6202 of Public Law 110-225 Transparency Act as follows, except for those expected from the Transparency Act. Some paragraphs, as in 1, 2, and 3 below, you must ensure that the necessary process system is to place comply with the award executive total compensation reporting requirements of the Transparency Act. Should receive the funding upon you will receive detailed information on the reporting requirements of the Transparency Act as described in Title 2, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 170, Appendix A, which can be found in the following website: the e-docket access gov, gpo.gov, 210 PDF, 210 22705 PDF. The following acts types are not subject to the Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act. 1. The federal awards individual who apply to receive federal awards of a natural person unrelated to any business, nonprofit organization he or she may operate his or her own in his or her own name. Federal award entity shall be the gross income from all sources of less than $300,000 in entity's previous tax year. Federal awards, if required, reporting will disclose classified information. B. Safeguarding data, including personal identifiable information in the PII application. Submitting applications in response to the FOA must recognize the confidentiality PI. 2. P2, otherwise sensitive data of the paramount importance of the Department of Labor must be observed, except for the disclosure is always prior to the written approval of the grant officer by the court order. Submitting the application, you are assuring that the data exchange is conducted during of the current course of the performance of the grant will be conducted in a manner consistent with applicable federal law or TEGL guideline book issued June 28, 2012. All such and conducted at the Employment Training Agency or grantees will be performed in a manner consistent with the applicable state and federal laws. By submitting a grant application, you agree to take all necessary steps to protect such confidentiality compliant and with the following provisions that applicable governing and handling the confidential information. You must ensure that the P2 sensitive data obtained otherwise associated with the Department of Labor Employment Training Agency funded grant is securely transmitted. To ensure that such P2 is transmitted to unauthorized at all, P2 other sensitive data transmitted via email or stored on CDs, DVDs, or thumb drives must be encrypted using the Federal Information Processing Standards, the FIBS 142 compliant, National Institution Standard Technology, NIST validated cryptographic model. You must not email you must not email unencrypted sensitive P2 to any entity, including the ETA or the contractors. You must step necessary to ensure privacy of all Part 2 obtained in the participation of other individuals to protect such information otherwise disclosure. You must maintain such a P2 in accordance with the ETA standards for the information security described in TEGL number 3911 and any updates to standards we provide you. If you wish to obtain more information on the data security, should the contractor of the federal project officer you must ensure that the P2 using during the performance of the grant has been obtained conformity of the applicable federal state laws governing confidential information. Your further acknowledgement of that all P2 obtained with the ETA grant must be stored in all physical safe access unauthorized persons at all times. Data will be processed using the grantee insposed equipment managed information technology services and designated locations of the ETA accessing processing of storing ETA grant of the P2 data on personal owned equipment, off-site locations, employees, home and non-grantee managed IT services. Yahoo Mail is strictly prohibited unapproved ETA. Your emails other than person who have access sensitive confidential material or confidential priority or private does not advise the confidential nature of information. Safeguards required to protect information that are civil, criminal sanctions, civil and criminal sanctions for non-compliance with safeguards that are contained in the federal or state laws. You must have their policy procedures in place under the employees or other personnel being granted access to the P2 acknowledgement and understanding of the confidential nature of the data, safeguards which they must comply in the handling of such data, as well as the fact may be liable to civil, criminal sanctions or other improper disclosure. You must not extract information of the data supplied by the ETA for any purpose not stated in the grant application. Access to the P2 created ET grant may be restricted to an employee's grant recipients who need the official capacity to perform duties in connection with the scope of the work of the grant agreement. 10. All PIP2 must be proposed in the manner that particular confidential record documents is designed to prevent authorized persons from retrieving such records on computer, remote terminal, and other means. Data may be downloaded, maintained on portable devices, mobile or portable devices, if only the data the encrypted with using the NIST valid software product based on the FIBS 142, in addition with the wage data may only be assessed from certain locations. 2. The P2 data obtained by the grantee through the request of the Employment Trade Agency or must not be disclosed to anyone but the individual requester except for the permitted grant officer or by court order. You must return to the ETA to make on-site inspections during the regular business hours of the purpose, conducting audits and conducting investigations to assure the complying with the confidential requirements described above. In accordance with the responsibility, you must make a record of applicable the grant agreement of the available authorized person for the purpose of inspection, review, and audit. 13. You must retain a received ETA only by the period of time required to use the assets, other purposes to satisfy federal requirements, retention requirements, if in any of their you are to agree to the data destroyed, including the gauzing of magnetic tape and deletion of electronic data. Record retention. You must be prepared to file the federal guidelines. Record retention. You will maintain all records pertaining to the grant activities for the period of the last 3 years for the date of the submission of the final expenditure report. C2 Code 2F, C2 CFR 200 337 through 337. The most specific information, including information from the start record retention from all the awards renewed quarterly, annually, when the records must be retained for more than 3 years. Use the contract and sub-awards must be abide following definitions of the contractor, sub-award, and recipient. The contract means the legal instrument with a non-federal entity described defined as a state, local government, Indian tribe, institution with a higher education, nonprofit organization for the profit of entity for the public, and entity the foreign organization that carries on the federal award as the recipient, subrecipient purchase property. The service needs to carry out the project program using under the federal award. The terms are used in the federal opportunity authority does not include the legal instrument, even the non-federal entities considered in the contract with substances, transaction, definition, federal awards, and sub-awards. See definition, sub-award below. Contractor, means of any entity that receives a contractor as defined in the contract. Sub-awards mean award provided by the past through the entity defined in the federal, non-federal entity that provides a sub-award with sub-recipient to the federal program. 2. As for recipient, for the sub-recipient to carry out the part of the federal award received in the past through entity. It does not include the payments of the contractor payments to the individual that is beneficiary of the federal program. A sub-award is provided through any form of the legal agreement, including the arrangement of the past through the entities considered in the contract. Sub-recipient means of non-federal entity that receives a sub-award of the past through the entity to carry out the federal program, but does not include the individual that is beneficiary of such a program. Sub-recipient must also be a recipient of the federal awards directly to the federal awarding agency. You must follow provisions of Title II Code Federal Regulations 200, 330 through 332 regarding subrecipient monitoring and management. Also, Code Regulation Title II Code Federal Regulations 20308 C6 regarding approval and requirements of sub-awards. Awarding sub-award, you are required to comply with the provisions of the government-wide submission and debarment of Title II Code Federal Regulations Part 180, codified in the Department of Labor and 29 Code Federal Regulations Part 98. The close out of the grant award, any entity that receives under the announcement closest to the ETA at the end of the final year, the information of the process must be found in the ETA's grant closeout for frequently asked questions located in the Department of Labor, grants, docs, GFC, FAQ, grant closeout, PDF. Other administrative standard provisions, except for specifically provided by the Florida Funding Opportunity Authority or acceptable of the application. Any award federal funds to sponsor programs does not provide a waiver of any grant requirements or procedures. For example, Office Management Budget Circular requires the entity procurement procedures to ensure that all the procurement transactions are conducted as much as particularly to provide open and free competition. Application specifies to provide the goods and services award that does not justification of the basis of sole procurement to avoid competition. 4. The special program requirements of the ETA evaluation evaluation. As a condition of the grant award, the American Apprenticeship Grant is required to participate in the national evaluation. The national evaluation may include the implementation assessment across the grantees, as well as impact outcomes analysis as of selected items and selective sites, which are across the grantees conducted. Impact analysis can improve the random assignment, which involves random assignment of the eligible participation in the treatment of the group, which would program the services, enhance program services, and control. They would receive no program services. Program services that are enhanced, the department may require applications to collect elements of the aid of the apprenticeship evaluation, assess the return of the investment to the employers, assess the overall project, and national evaluation. Grantees must agree. You may make records and participation employers and fundable availability to provide access, program operation, personnel participation, operational financial award of other pertaining documentations, collect program costs and benefits, facilitate assignment by the lottery of participation of program serves, include the possibly incremented increased recruitment of potential participation. The following elevation procedures are specified in National Evaluator. The direction of the Department of Labor include the grant period of the performance. Additional grantees must ensure the compliance of the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, the FERPA, Title 20, U.S. Standard Code 1232G, and Title 34 Code Federal Regulations, Part 99. This grantee must establish policies in compliance with including the policies and assessing the student education records when connected with audit of evaluation and federal state programs and enforcement compliance with the federal law, legal requirements of the program, standard practice agreements for the disclosing of the P2 through the writing agreements, other P2 records of management practices. In addition, any required national evaluation selected numbers may be associated with the volunteer can participate, demonstrate particular recruitment retention strategy that could be used in the apprenticeship program to demonstrate the focus of the following non-exhaustive list of topics: improving, refining existing recruitment techniques, expanding recruitment efforts of the new models of recruitment before, better targeting requirements of specific populations, other new services, enhancing existing services, and improve the retention of the target populations. B. The performance goals. Please note that the application will be held outcomes provided failure to meet the outcomes and may result in technical assistance, other intervention. The ETA may also significant impact the decision and future grants of the ETA. C. Reporting. You must agree to the Department of Labor reporting requirements. Quarterly financial reports, quarterly progress reports, and MIS data must be submitted by the grantee electronically. Additionally, the grantees must submit information of the job openings of the National Apprenticeship as a job bank. You must provide a report of the document listed. 1. The quarterly financial reports. The quarterly financial report, ETA 9130, is required until such time as all funds have been expended but the grant period has expired. The quarterly reports are due 45 days after each end of the calendar year of the quarter. And on the financial status report, you must include the subaward amounts when we can calculate the final direct end costs. As applicable, you must use the Department of Labor online electronic reporting system. Information instruction will be provided with the grants. Quarterly performance reports. You must submit a quarterly progress report including the individual record level data within 45 days of the end of each of the calendar year. The report must include quarterly information on the grant activities, performance goals, lines, milestones. The quarterly progress report will serve as the grant's final performance report. The reports must provide quarterly cumulative information on the grant activities to summarize project activities, employment outcomes, other deliverables, related research. Project must thoroughly document apprenticeship and training approaches that you use. Will you provide the formula guidance for the data reporting systems, other information required to collect and reported on the regular basis or special request basis? 3. An apprenticeship job bank. You must participate in the Department of Labor apprenticeship job opening database that will be accessible to the public. This will help launch a national campaign to diverse apprenticeship opportunities to wider audiences, help facilitate matching and willing workers with the apprenticeship sponsor. National media campaigns. You must participate in national media campaigns initiated with the Department of Labor to provide successing stories, photos, testimonies to promote national media campaigns. You must participate in national media campaigns initiated with the Department of Labor providing successful stories, photos, terminals, promote advancement apprenticeship initiative. Title 7 agency contacts. Further information of the funding other opportunity authority, please contact Jeanette Flowers, Grant Management Specialist, Office of Grants and Management, 202-693-3222. Applicants should email all technical questions to Florida Jeanette Department of Labor. Government must specify requests of the FOA ETA 1502 along with the questions including contact name, fax, phone number. This announcement is beginning made available at the ETA website of the Department of Labor at eta.gov, grants, or at grants.gov. Grants.gov.